Hello and welcome to His and Hers podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Deanna. And last week on our uh, first episode of What Happened to Men, it got a great reception. I actually was surprised by that because most of you actually agreed. I was actually expecting more negativity, but we only had like maybe one negative comment, and it was a good negative comment. Actually, one of my favorite comments was somebody actually said, "Yeah, I think the younger generation eats too much fast food, and they're putting too much estrogen in the McDonald's." I actually like that comment. That was a great one. So, moving on from that,
So one of the things I heard was I had glasses on last time for reading. Take them off. I look 400 years older.
I have to agree. You kind of
Yeah,
did.
didn't like it. Another comment was that they thought we should sit across from each other, and we talked about it. But you are the audience, and we are talking to you, so we are facing you as a we, not me and her having a discussion between each other. So that was the reason why we are sitting next to each other.
Right. Maybe in the future we'll play with the seating a little bit more, but for now we're limited to what we can do. So
And yes, we do need a backdrop.
yeah,
That
so
was commented. So I agree. We're working on that,
we're working.
but we're new.
We're a work in progress. So just bear with us.
That is true.
So going on for that, let's talk about this week relationships.
Yeah. Can you guys define what a relationship is in today's terminology? I mean, in the past, it meant something serious and lasting. Now, it's disposable.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it seems like your relationship is as long as you get likes on Instagram. If you look cute with this person on Instagram and you get like 1,000 likes, you're a couple. You only get two. Well, guess what? They're like Kleenex. They're out the door. That seems to be what today's society tends to think for some
So,
reason.
what are people looking for in a relationship nowadays? Sex, friends with benefits, marriage, what kind of relationship? And I think the majority of the people today, just a friends with benefit. Nobody's looking for that long-term relationship anymore.
I know there's a lot of people that have been hurt, and that's one of the reasons they don't want the long term because they're afraid of getting hurt because something has happened in their past and they're afraid to make themselves vulnerable to opening themselves up to someone else. And there's other things too. Um, People like to play games, and that's the other reason. There's 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 a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, I myself, I can only speak for myself. I got played big time. I got used for a green card, and it left me with some really deep scars that it played with me. And I actually know some stories from a group therapy session where I've seen, which everybody like, oh, women, yeah, you tend to get played with when it's a green card situation. Well, guess what? No, believe it or not, there was actually more men in that, and I'm not ugly guys. There was actually some. There's one guy I actually know. He was a good-looking guy who got played, and he would tell you it was a 20-year age difference. He's. I remember him saying, he goes, "I married the Colombian Peg Bundy." Because he says, "Oh,
Peg Bundy?
Peg Bundy." I'm not kidding you. He married
Bon sofa on the remote.
he got played. The girl he thought was the girl of his dreams. He married her, brought her over to the States, and then all she wanted to do was sit on the couch and eat bonbons all day. He goes, "I married the Colombian Peg Bundy," because that always stood in my mind when he said that. But there was a 20-year age difference, and she married him basically because she just wanted someone to.
A green card.
Yeah.
one citizenship, and
And she-
that's not uncommon. I mean,
Yeah.
many people have been played,
Yeah.
looking for love,
Well,
finding temporary love.
yeah. And the other thing is she didn't want to work either. Because he was actually he had money. He offered to send her to school, everything. She's like, no, no, no. She just wanted to sit on the couch, eat the bonbons, and watch TV. That's it.
So today's relationship.
Yep.
Let's start with men. You got younger men, older men. I really don't think there's much of a difference on what they're looking for. I mean, you got younger men who in school want to have fun. Relationships kind of, girlfriend, whatever, second hand. Then it's like college, and then they think about their career, and they move in that direction. And you get the older men who I think have been through a relationship before. They've been married, they've got kids, said been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I don't think that they're like, I don't want to get married again. I just want to find a companion. I just want a companion that I can go out with, have sex with, dinner with, and then companions are a lot more disposable than getting married to somebody, So you can just kind of like, things aren't working out. I want somebody new, and it's easier to move on.
I think some women are like that too. And it's funny,
I think a lot of women are like that.
yeah.
I know a lot of older women that like, hey, I've been there, done that, got the family, got the marriage, got all that. I like my independence. I don't have to answer to anybody. I mean, I do, and I go as I go where I want to go, do as I please, and they're happy. They've got their friends, and they have a companion or two.
Yep. And I think that a lot of times too, especially if you've been in a relationship where you just got nagged to death and you just don't want to go through that again. That's what, like, yeah, my wife, all she did was nag, 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 nag. She was all over me. And you're like, I really don't want to do that again. Like you said, I want my independence. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to live a life. And that's probably one of the reasons too why, like, I just don't want to be in a relationship again. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you go back in the day, right? A man's way of thinking was school, career, marriage, and family. Women were about school, marriage, family, and a career. They always put career last. Nowadays, both sides think exactly the same. It's all about getting through school, getting a career, getting independent, getting it to where I don't need anybody. I want somebody, which makes it to where, as I think you brought, disposable marriages.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's get married. If it doesn't work out, we'll move on. And it's easy to get a divorce, right? And then they think of, like I say, if you get married, family. I think the majority of the people want to get married and have kids at least once. But after that once, they're divorced for a reason. I don't think they want to go through the
pain of doing it again.
Well, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to go through everything that led to the divorce, and of course, at the end of the divorce, not a pleasant thing. I mean, there's a lot of fighting and a lot of anger, and I think people feel like they're controlled when they're in a marriage because they're like, oh, I've got to do this because my wife wants me to, or I got to do this because my husband wants me to. The compromising, because there's so much independence now, because everybody, like I said, is on the same page. We all do the same thing as far as the steps in life, and I think because of that, there's so much more independence that people don't compromise anymore.
There's no we in a relationship if you think about it. If you look at these couples that have been together, say 20 years, 30 years, you ask them like, why have you been together so long? And they're happy. And they're like, it's always about, like you said, the compromise. And it's the we aspect.
And they worked through their hard times.
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing in the towel with the divorce papers.
There's it's an old Disney movie. It's the oh, I can't, it's Maureen O'Hara and uh I can't think of the name of the movie of it, but there's a part where they were divorced. They have the two twins that they each have a twin and they bring them back. Maureen O'Hara and Dennehy or something in it. And when they bring him back together, he says to her, "You know what he misses about her? The the bobby pins mixed up with the fish hooks, the nylons hanging in the shower. It's like all the things that annoyed him, he actually missed." And she's like looking at him like, "All these things is what you missed about me? You bitched about it all the time." He says, "When she was gone, all the things that actually annoyed the shit out of him is what he actually missed." And when you talk to these like older couples, the things that annoyed the hell out of them, and when the wife dies, that's what they always miss the most. It's the little tiny things, the little things. That's what actually means the most. Yeah, they're annoying and that, but those are the things that actually meant most to them, and those are the things that they always worked on. For us, it's like we don't work on the little things. We don't compromise. It's like, that's it, the divorce papers, we're out the door. But the little things is what you can fix. That's what you can compromise. Like, sweetie, quit putting the fish hooks with your bobby pins. Those are compromises you can actually fix. They're not worth a divorce.
Well, my definition of a compromise in a relationship, I'm a 20%er, as I like to call it. 20% priority to me. 20%, I want it done my way. I know how to do it. I know how to do it right the first time. It's successful. It's important to me. I think the woman should have her percentage. Call it 20, 30% to her, what's important to her, what matters to her, what's important. And the compromise is if one of her priorities, what's important to her, falls in my 80% where I don't care, then okay, knock yourself out. It doesn't matter. I mean, there'll always be some conflict of what's important between both of us and priorities. And somewhere you have to kind of work things out. But in today's relationships, it just seems like everything has to be my way. Everything's got to be her way, and it's a strain. You have to set priorities on what's important to you. I mean, very important that you don't want to bend on.
Right.
And then the rest of it, just let it go. Especially if it's important to her, just let it go. And she's got to do the same. To me, that's what a compromise is. Not like, hey, I like football, she hates it. Let's go to the game and we stay till halftime because that's half the game. So hey, that's a compromise. No, it don't work that way.
No. I think at one time we had said about, all right, you like footballs, but I like the ballet. Okay, so I'm not into football, but I'll go to the football game with you this Sunday, but next Sunday you're going to the ballet. I suffer through 1 week with football.
You're suffer. Shouldn't be a suffering.
But
she goes to my football, she should go there. She's gonna have a great time because of the atmosphere and because she should want to see me happy, enjoying myself.
Right. That's what.
So I'm going to the ballet, not to see the ballet, not because I enjoy ballet, but because when I look at her, I can see how happy it makes her. And when she's happy, it makes me happy.
That's true. That is true. But, or you can look at it as, guess what, honey? You're going to see some guys in some tight pants and see some nice buns. And
see that in football.
That is, I'm telling you. And then, well, guess what? The women are wearing nice little leotards, so you get to see some nice women's body.
Cheerleaders.
So
no difference is what you're saying.
There's always a brighter side to an uneasy situation. How about that?
Can always be worse, is what I say.
Right.
But another strain of relationships, I think, is corporate America. Mm-hmm. Corporate America has made it to where the single income parent cannot support a family. They can barely support themselves. And now you have a dual income family. I mean, parents, both working, puts a lot of stress on the relationship. And when you have a family, it creates even more stress because you're not putting the time in with like your children. You're not putting time in with the family. You're not putting time in making the relationship better. Because both of you go to work, you come home, you're tired, you got to make dinner, you got to feed the kids, got to take care of homework. Next thing you know, it's 9 o'clock. Gives you what, an hour, 2 hours maybe? And then you go to bed and start it all over again. Then you have the weekends. What are the weekends for? I need to rest. I'm tired. I work so hard all week.
Well, also in that scenario too, when do you make time for each other? Yeah, you got the kids and all that, but when do you actually?
Babysitters, man. I know my neighbors be like, freaking babysitters are expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
No $5 an hour there anymore. No, it's more like $20 to have somebody watch the kids. Like, whoa.
But sometimes you can't even afford the babysitter.
That's
That's
what
the
I'm saying.
problem.
Have you ever noticed? I've gone to movies and sometimes R-rated movies, and these parents bring their little kids with them because they can't get a babysitter, can't afford a babysitter. It's like, I mean, just the other day, Dee and I went to see a concert.
And there was two little kids
Two
there.
little kids there. It's like,
and it was not a place for two little kids. And they were like, okay.
well behaved, good kids, but it's not supposed to be kids. And of course, the venue had no one under, what was it, 14?
14.
They were way under 14.
Yeah, they're definitely. If they were 14 over, they were awfully short. I mean, and that's the other problem that leads to stress in a marriage. You don't have that alone time. Like, it's like, okay, honey, we got like 5 minutes, make it good. I mean, you can make it good for 5 minutes, the very quickie, but like, okay, yeah. I mean, you do have to make it. Sometimes you want to feel special, and you got to make it work, and you have to make your imagination work too. Which,
well, that results in the cheating in relationships that seem to happen more often than not, and
which
is why,
right? Which ends up, one time you had said, like, define what's the most important thing in a relationship. I can't remember how you actually said it, and I said trust, and you're like, wow, not everybody comes up with that. And it's true. You have to actually trust your partner, and not everybody has that. So for like boys' night, hun, go out, have fun.
heck yeah. I mean, if I was married and my wife went, I want her to go out with the girls. I want her to get hit on. I want her to have a great time. Women go out, they dress to the nines because they've got to be sexy. I mean, that's so important to a woman. They got to feel good, got to look good, got to get eyes turned on them. I mean, and that's what I'd want. I could care less if I mean, where the line's drawn, right? You got to have that trust.
Yeah.
And I mean, just it keeps a relationship actually alive because they're kind of having their cake and eating it too. Right. They're having the marriage and the family and everything there, but on the other side, they're going after girls, they're dressing up, they're feeling sexy, they're getting hit on, they're flirting, all those things that, it just that excite somebody, that makes them feel good about themselves. And I think the guys, should go out there, guys, know where that line's drawn also, freaking go out, have fun, flirt, do a great time. I mean, who doesn't come home after like just having a good night out, feeling sexy, getting flirted with? I mean, that leads to like lust, right? I mean, just come back to the home and lust on me, not somebody else.
I've always been that way. I'm like, go out, have fun. I mean, let's be honest. Everybody looks.
You have to look. It's healthy.
Everybody fantasizes. You're not going to stop it. It happens. And if you say, oh no, I never look, you're lying. And that's not healthy either. You know what? Don't give me a reason not to trust you. Honey, go out, have fun. If he wants to go to a strip club with the boys and have a boys' night out, fine. Have fun. When you come back, guess who's going to get lucky? Me. I'm the one that's going to benefit from it. Because, yeah, it's a fantasy. He's going to have fun, do his thing, whatever. I'm glad because I'm going to be the one that benefits because it's all about the trust because he's good. They're going to look no matter what.
Looking, there's a lot of beautiful people out there.
Right. Touching's a little different.
I mean, there's a lot of beautiful people. It's healthy to look, but you have to appreciate who you're with.
Right.
And you have to remember you chose to be with that person. So even though you look here, look there, look somewhere else, but you chose to be with who you're with. And that's who you want to be in a relationship with. So, I mean, you have to understand that.
Right. And I forget who it was. It was an actress. She did this interview. Her and her husband. I almost want to say it was the one at Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She and they had came to an agreement that if they
Michelle,
Michelle, yeah, I can't think of her name, but it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She they came to an agreement that if they ever think they're going to actually have an affair, they will talk to each other. If they think they're going to get to that a point, they will sit down and talk. Like, look, I'm having these weird feelings. I think I'm attracted. And she said that actually helps them. And they've been together over 20 years? And they're like, that's the problem. No one communicates with each other.
Open marriages.
Well, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett.
I mean, it's people cheat because the new wears off. Mm-hmm. Things become routine. You quit trying to please each other. You quit trying to make things exciting. And even when you try to keep making things exciting and all, it goes, it only goes so far and for so long.
Right.
But I think, somehow, somewhere, like I said, you got to keep the love alive. And you can't let the old just, remove the sex out of your relationship because that's extremely important.
Right.
If it wasn't, people wouldn't cheat on each other, right? I mean, sex is a very good feeling. People enjoy it. It's a huge part of a relationship. So you got to keep it alive. You can't let it get old and stale. And, you think about it. I mean, I know people that they're out on a picnic or whatever, or there's phone booths that you can go and take pictures and things like that. I mean, or even in a car, it's like people sit there and get an idea, and it's the excitement and the danger and the
spontaneity of it.
Yeah, I mean, it creates that endorphins. It's like, oh, heck yeah, let's do it. It makes it exciting and thrilling and all that. And you got to keep that around.
What also
too bad you get arrested now.
Well, you know what also I know for a woman, our bodies change.
Get a prescription.
Well, our bodies.
Doctor says I need to have sex in different places and all around. And
well, our bodies change so much. I always joke with everybody, say, my weight goes up and down worse than a stripper on a pole. Especially with children. The things happen. Things flap. You get hair in places you never expected, all that. Hormones, all that.
Or you lose hair that you didn't want to expect.
Right. And you do you don't feel the sexiness, and and people like you sometimes need that encouragement, and you're like, and I think in a marriage, the husband forgets to tell his wife, wow, you take my breath away, or something you still or. You forget to remind them of it, and sometimes we need that encouragement, especially when you feel so self-conscious, you hiding under the sheets or something like that. And they're like, well, you know what, sweetie, come here. making us feel like you're beautiful. Sometimes it's just those little words.
Well, I think that also you were talking, like we were talking about earlier, about going out with the guys and having guys' night,
Yeah.
girls' night. I mean, being hit on or flirting and all that from other people, especially with women, looking great, guys flirting with you and all that, makes you feel good. It makes you feel
Yeah.
attractive. It's like, I still got it,
Right.
and because in a relationship, you still got it. It's just you're not reminded, as you're pointing out. You're
Yeah.
not. It's not uh, front and right in front of you, as far as like, you know what, you look freaking great. You know what I mean? But it's always nice when you have other people hitting on you or flirting with you.
True.
It's nice when people turn their heads and look at you, because it's that, damn, I still got it feeling.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's nice to, especially when you have a stranger, like, damn, girl, you got it. Like, thank you. Like, and then especially like, oh, that guy said I look good. Like, you do get that confidence boost. And it's like, hey, and you're like, oh, and you know what it is I think people too, they lose their self-confidence too as the older you get. Like I said, because we do change as we get older. Especially it doesn't help with, the beauty trends anymore. And I mean, women are turning into Muppets, and you know what I'm talking about, the big lips and those freaking eyelashes that are a mile long. Like, who the hell thinks this shit up? I don't, and oh, don't forget.
Too much is a bad thing. Oh, the claws. I hate the claws. Who freaking thought of getting claws?
It's
Really?
like, okay. I don't know who thinks that these are beautiful, but you need to stop. Because it really is giving a lot of us women really self-conscious issues.
But, I mean, in regards to cheating, as we're talking, I mean, I known women that had husbands in the military, and they'd go away on a 4-month deployment. He goes, boyfriend comes in. What the heck? Same thing, women would go, in the military. So it's both ways. But it's like, why? Loneliness. But you can be right next to each other and you can still feel lonely.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting that feedback that you need, that we all need, in feeling important and special. And, you know, women cheat on men because they meet somebody that's charming and they get flattered, and the flattery just turns into lust, and they just, why not? I'm not getting it at home. I feel good. I feel special. I like feeling this way. And things happen. Men, you start talking to a woman, you start, charming her, flattering her. She's tossing her hair and all that. They're like, yeah, and she's probably feeling the same thing as you are, as far as like, she's getting the flatter. So she's like, yeah, why not? And I've known a number of married couples, like guys and women, that cheated on their spouses, but they only cheat with other married people because they're like, they only want one thing.
I actually knew a girl that would actually brag that she could actually get any man she wanted and she make men cheat. And it was a game for her. She actually could turn any guy.
The devil.
She really was. And it basically she
See, guys,
knew
all
how to
women
do
are
it.
evil. Remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a literal game for her. It was.
Well, the interesting thing is, like back in college, I had friends that wore wedding bands. They said they got more women hitting on them because they wore a wedding band than if they had it off.
It was funny because when we were kind of
And why? Because they only want one thing.
it was a while ago we were talking about relationships or something like that. And this is a while ago, and you know how Facebook kind of listens to what you're talking, whatever. It was weird. I got one of those reels, or no, it was an ad on my thing, and it was like how to make money talking on to married men through WhatsApp and get them to send you money. And I'm like, what? And it was basically like almost like a 976 number. Well, remember 976 numbers, but it was through WhatsApp to talk to lonely married men without showing your face. I'm like, what the heck? But I guess this is a new scam. Well, it was funny. Out of curiosity, I sent it to see what it was about, and it was sent to me in all Spanish, and I can't even read it. So apparently, there's a new scam out there. By the way,
One made every day. So enough about cheating. Let's get to divorces. All right. Why are there so many divorces nowadays? I mean, back in the day, you would work hard, you'd work through your problems, and you stayed married. Now, well, there's another reason is you'd get married, you'd have kids, you'd have problems, but you'd stay for the children. Now, it's as easy as like, hey, let's get married. If it doesn't work out, we'll get a divorce. No effort.
Yeah.
Made way too easy.
It's very easy. I mean, you see those signs on the road. Need a divorce? $97. I mean, they're on the roadside.
And who sets that example for everybody? I would say a lot of the celebrities. I mean, how many of the celebrities that get married, get divorced 6 months later, get married again, get married a year, get divorced a year later? I mean, to them, it's just a revolving door. Getting married, getting divorced, getting married.
Some of them just do it just
Very bad example.
Get famous. I mean, to me, one of the most famous is Kim Kardashian. Everybody knows about that whole. She had that grand wedding, and 60 days later, she's getting divorced. Like, all for what? Just to get her name on, the papers. It's ridiculous. Nobody gets married because they're actually in love. They get married because, hey, we're great in bed. Let's get married. Okay. Oh, you don't know how to cook? Okay, bye. Way back.
Now, cooking's important.
Everybody knows the saying, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Yummy.
But do you know the actual history of that saying? Way back in the day, when a man was actually looking for a wife, you wanted a wife that could take care of the home, take care of children. You wanted somebody that actually could cook. So you wanted to find a wife that could cook. So the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So if a woman could cook, you knew she was a keeper. That's the whole history of that saying. Nowadays, if she got big boobs and a big butt and a big lips, we're gonna marry her. Doesn't matter. Oh, she can't cook? Divorce. Next. Disposable Kleenexes. That's what marriage is anymore.
Disposable, definitely. I just think, like I said, the people that I'm not gonna say like we, because I don't, but the public looks up to a lot of these actors and actresses and rock stars or musicians, whatever. To them, marriage is a revolving door, and for some reason, we look at that and think, "Oh, that's okay. We can do the same." Things come and go, but I think marriage is something that you should work hard for.
Yeah.
A relationship, something that should mean a lot more than it does in today's terminology. And I don't think we put a lot of effort anymore into relationships.
No, I don't think we do at all. I remember Jackie Kennedy Onassis. She said the first time you get married for love. The second time you get married, it's for money. Third time you get married, it's just for companionship. And I always thought that was like an interesting saying, because it goes back to, there was a thing going around on the internet about there's 3 types of love of your life. The first time you fall in love, it's always like your high school crush. Second time you fall in love, it's always to something that's lustful. But the one you actually fall in love with, that you spend the rest of your life with, always comes out of nowhere, and it's always the total opposite. That one, and if you look at these people that have been together 30, 40 years, the old generation.
I'll tell you who surprised. Tim McGraw and Faith Hill.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. And they'll tell you, Wasn't easy. They'd make it work. They compromised on he'll tour 1 year, she'll tour the next, while the other one watches the kids. Um, I mean, that's a great example for people to follow.
Right. And if you look at their story, it's exactly, they met out of nowhere. They were the total opposites. It's exactly. And that's the thing, is everybody's always like, you have this set person in mind, I want to get this. And it never works out. And it's funny because it always is the opposite of what you're looking. It's the yin and yang, but we never look for the yin and yang. We're always looking for, I want a tall blonde, I wanted this, I want a muscle, I want this. It never works out, and it always happens when you least expect it. And it's always, those are the relationships that work, but we never work for it.
So it's interesting. Being single, people are like, so what are you looking for? And I find that the most difficult question to answer. And the reason is, as you were saying, he could be blonde, big chest, butt, everything. Not interested because you're just, for lack of better terms, just a bitch. Somebody I don't have anything in common with or whatever. And the only answer that I really have, and I think is the real true answer for what are we all looking for in a relationship, is chemistry.
Yeah.
It's not specifically what somebody looks like, but it's the chemistry you have with each other.
Right.
Some commonalities, some things not, which is fine. The differences make a relationship stronger, because if you liked everything together exactly, well, it comes to a point where you like to do it one way, she likes to do it the other way. Then you got to compromise in there, and you're like, oh well, whose way do we choose? And then if you always do things her way, it'll wind up annoying you after a while because you want it done your way. So there's things where you're not common in. It's like, okay, well, however she wants to get it done, go for it.
But one thing I have noticed, that like for the little old couples that have been together like 40, 50 years, 60 years, do you ever notice they look alike? Once you get to 60 years together, they actually look exactly alike. It's so weird. It's like they morph. They look so alike.
They grow together.
They literally grow together. I always think they're so cute. You can see them on their little walkers. Mm-hmm. They look so cute together. And that's like, I would love to find that person where I do grow old together. I mean, I don't have to marry them, but just to grow old together with them.
And that's, I think we'll get to a certain age, and I think older people start looking for marriage at a certain age, because you don't want to be old alone.
Yeah.
And you want somebody to help take care of you, and you help take care of them. And you two become dependent on each other, which makes your relationship, marriage, companionship, whatever you want to call it, solid, because the independence part has been removed, at least enough of it, to where now you're dependent on each other. So you actually take care of each other. And I don't think the younger generation does much of that, is take care of each other anymore. It's too much independence, too much my way or no way.
I don't think they actually know how to even take care of themselves. That's the problem. I think they're used to everybody taking care of them, that they just actually don't even know how to take care of themselves.
Well, that's the younger generation.
That's younger.
Yeah, the younger generation's kind of ticked off at their parents now, because the younger generation, the millennials, have kids. Yeah. And they're mad because their parents won't watch their kids for them.
Right.
They think it's like, and it's like, they think they're obligated to. And the parents are like, no, we're not.
Right.
Actually think that's kind of funny. It's like, oh.
Right. But I just think a lot of our generates too. I think sometimes with like, at least dating at our age, I've seen a lot of just angry people at our age. So I don't know if they're just angry at being single or what it is, because they've just had a lot of lack of love too, where they just don't want to try. or they're just unwilling to compromise too. And I think that's a lot of issues too, or they have a lot of
100%.
anger inside them.
I know a number of women and a number of men who are been married, got kids. They don't want to get married again. They just want a companion. They want somebody to spend the evenings with, watch movies with, go out to dinner with. They've got their friends also, so it keeps them busy. I mean, why do you get married? I had many people tell me that they wouldn't get married. I said, why? Well, you don't marry unless you're going to have kids with somebody. And I think of marriage going, you get married if you want to have kids. If you have like medical insurance benefits and stuff like that, that you can give to your spouse if she was your spouse, I think that's a reason. And also, hate me for saying, but you meet somebody like Colombia and you love that person, you marry them so that they can have citizenship. Unselfish. Now, you got to do it like I'm talking like unselfish, not like, well, I got you this, now you owe me. No, I mean, unselfish acts.
Yeah.
But there are a number of people married that don't want to have kids. Okay. They what do they call it? Dual income, no kids.
Mm-hmm.
The richest people on earth. No. But a relationship, the terminology has definitely changed from 50 years ago to today. I don't know if it's for the better. It's definitely different.
Yeah.
Expectations are different. Outcomes are different.
And everybody's different in what they want to. Like what you're saying, like I know a lot of people that's older that doesn't like my situation. Yes, I am divorced. Would I get married again? My situation's different. If
Well,
I
you
had
can't never say never. I'd never get married again.
right, I
You
never
might
had.
meet that right person, be like, okay, you're my exception.
I didn't say that. I never got a chance to actually be a wife. I really didn't. If I met that right person, I would get married again because I never had a chance to actually be a wife. In all honesty, because I was mentally and emotionally abused in that marriage. So if I had a chance and I met the right person, yeah, I would get married again. So everybody's a little bit different. So, and it just depends. Sometimes it just takes meeting the right person to change your mind too. So it just takes the right person sometimes. And sometimes you just haven't met the right person and you never know who's around the corner. You could just trip on the street and some stranger helps you up and you never know. That might be Mr. or Mrs. Right. You never know.
It's called love at first sight.
Mhm.
Lightning strikes.
Yep, you never know. The universe is weird sometimes.
Well, I was 22 years old, and my friends dragged me out to Outback when it first was coming around, and this is back in Gainesville. And the hostess there, I told my friends, that's who I want to marry. And I came very close to getting married to her, but I was a 23, 24, 25 young punk kid asshole who thought he was, got all the answers. And yeah, I wrecked it. I've always admitted that. And but yeah, you never know. You never know when it's going to be the right person at the right time. And this was a woman that I just looked at, was like, oh, that's who's right for me.
Yep.
What the heck? But my friends almost fainted. They're like, what are you talking about? So on our closing note,
Yeah.
What's a relationship to you? I mean, how much time does it take? What do you have to put into it? What are the pros and cons? I mean, what is a relationship? And what does it mean to you? And that's it's a very tough question because, as you were saying, Deanna, we're all different and we all have different views about a relationship. But I think if you can honestly answer that and not lie to yourself.
That's that's the thing. A lot of people, they don't know what they want in a relationship. And I think that's another problem.
Well, they do. They don't want a relationship, or they just want sex.
Right. But
I
that's
mean,
they won't they're not honest with themselves too.
that's it. You're just not being honest with yourself. I mean, there was one girl I met that we hit it off. Things were great, and I was like, what's wrong with me? I'm like, you know what? I need to stick with this, and I worked, but it didn't work out, and it didn't work out for a reason because from the beginning, it just wasn't there. The chemistry wasn't there,
Yeah.
and so I mean, you gotta be honest with yourself from the start.
Yeah. I had that first guy post divorce, and for me, it took me a while to realize the chemistry wasn't there. I was basically trying to stick it to my ex-husband, like, yeah, I am desirable, but I actually didn't really like the guy. But I wasn't honest with myself, and it was just basically. So yeah, you're right.
So thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
We hope this show was better than the first one.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed yourself. We appreciate the feedback as always, and thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you, and we'll see you next Tuesday with our next topic. And we'd love to know what you think of this week and what your thoughts on relationships. Bye.